Unmuting the mics. Unmuting mics.
Well, hello everyone. We
Oh,
are live.
and I'm singing.
Yeah, when I say we're unmuting the mics, that generally means I'm about to hit the button that unmutes the mics.
I didn't know it was like the step one was unmute the mics and step two was live. I thought there was another step or three.
No, unmuting the mics means hello everybody, and hello everybody.
And hello.
I'm Adam, Corpulent Geek, and that is
Christina, Sci-Fi Christina.
And we are here today to shower praise upon one of our favorite shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because it's about to have its 100th episode.
Yeah.
And they've promised us lots of big, important things and emotional, impactful moments. And they're supposed to explain what the Ghost Rider's deal with Coulson was. That's not like a spoiler thing. That's like out there. Yeah, so we're very excited. And we just want to do a little bit of a retrospective and see what was going on. Oh, Mom is in the room, even though I didn't send her.
Nice. She's got notifications and stuff set up. Go, Mom.
Yeah, well, she on Facebook, too. Anywho, so, yeah, oh, look, and I even busted out my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shirt.
Nice. I busted out my PTO mom shirt because I was at a PTO meeting earlier.
Nice. That's classy.
Hey.
All right, so what were we going to start with? Chris and I both have a couple of our big favorite things about the show that we wanted to hit on, bigger points, and then we were going to go into just a couple of our favorite lines and a couple other favorite things, and hopefully maybe some fans come in and they will have some questions or mention their
Comments,
own popular things. All right, so Chris is going to go first and light us up with a little bit of discussion on
Daisy's dad. As much as I can't stand the name Daisy, it's the only part I wish they'd done different.
We really cannot, can we?
Yes.
But they were kind of closed in by the comic books.
That's true. But I'm not going to harp on that because I know I harped on that last episode. But I love the actor Kyle MacLachlan. He plays crazy and quirky and weird really well. And so I have liked the highlights of his career for me have been the Dune movie from 1984, which is what I first saw him in.
Phew, that was 84?
Yeah.
Why is it that Patrick Stewart looks the same in that as he does? Oh, that was only 3 years later. I guess that answered that question, huh?
Because only 3 years went by.
Oh my God, when did I get so old? Oh. I'm gonna put my head down as you discuss your part, and I'm gonna take a little nap.
Okay. That's how you know you're old. You got a nap mid-podcast.
Ovaltine.
Ovaltine. Oh, gosh. You are
gay.
old.
Sorry.
So
right, I'm back.
He is playing Daisy's dad, Cal. And I guess originally his name was Cal Johnson, but then he changed it to Cal Zabo, which I didn't really even notice or know until I was making sure I knew all the stuff for this, for our discussion. And he changed it to that because it sounded more sinister. And that's an awesome reason.
He's not lying.
He is not. But his
Anything
character
with a Z
is Mr. Hyde because he was not born inhuman, but he wanted to, I think, become inhuman. And so he tinkered around with some formulas.
He was like the 498th person to try and create like a super serum for Captain America.
This is like another Bruce Banner failure. So he became Mr. Hyde, and he just kind of monsters out and looks even crazier and weirder. I was given his highlights that I watched. I watched him in that, and then I finally watched Twin Peaks after I had my second kid. I was on so like 3 years ago, and loved it. I don't know why it took me so long to get around to it, because that was also crazy and weird. I mean, all sorts of weird. And I
knew it was weird. I've never had any desire to watch that.
It's weird. I mean, you just have to be ready to sit down and be like, all right, I'm going along for this ride, and I don't know where it's going to end up or if it's even going to be resolved, but it's just weird, and I love it, and I love his character because he's just this, like, incredibly upbeat FBI agent who is just like, yeah, did you try the pie? So anyway, I have loved him in those things, and I loved him in this character as well. Yeah, and you wanted to make sure that we mentioned the character's arc was really interesting because his his desire and drive was to find his daughter. And throughout the search for that, on screen and even beforehand, by the time we meet him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he's completely around the bend. He's, done all of experimentations and has this formula, and he and his wife Jia-Ying are on Splitsville because they disagreed with how they were searching for Daisy. So he is kind of at the like ultimate peak of nutsy cuckoo. But what I like about his arc in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that his drive really was to find his daughter, like to be a good dad. But he had like departed from normalcy so far that he couldn't tell that the things that he was doing was really not going to endear him to a child that he found along the way. But by the end of it, he ultimately kind of made the sacrifice of killing Jia-Ying. Hopefully everyone who's watching this has watched everything, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's probably
Hold
something
on.
we should have said at the beginning.
I got something for that. There
We're
we
talking
go.
about everything.
I threw up spoiler alert there. Sorry. We should have had that going before.
But yeah, so he did that so that Daisy wouldn't have to and live with that pain, because obviously she spent her life trying to find her parents. It's really a bummer if in the end you're like, ugh, I gotta kill you. So I liked his overarching story and his growth, and then I like that they were able to kind of keep him around by doing a little mind wipe and then setting him up in a vet clinic.
It wasn't just a little mind wipe. They used the part of the Tahiti project.
They did.
Yeah. So I'm sorry I'm distracted there, but I was just tweeting at Clark Gregg, telling him he should tune in and watch.
Ooh.
So if somehow we see in the chat room someone weird and they're acting like they're Clark Gregg, I'm gonna freak out and run away. Anyway. So I was being silly.
I'm gonna fangirl just thinking about that.
But yeah, so you touched on the him making the sacrifice.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and like the way they did that shot. Even they had those two in the foreground on the side, and Sky was crumpled down on the ground because she was all like, her mom just tried to suck out all her life force, and it was pretty cool. Somehow I just saw that recently, that part. I've been seeing some replays of like favorite moments.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
All right, so I'm gonna throw it over to you for the next point, right?
Yes. So I would like to talk about how they do such a good job of reinventing the show. Definitely every season, they seem to have a new big bad thing that they focus on, but even last season, they refocused the show 3 different times. They had 3 different segments. The first one was with Ghost Rider. Again, spoilers, just in case. And I love this button thing I got over here that can make things pop up.
You weren't going to not talk about it.
It's going to get more. Well, I talked about it last night, on Mike's stream,
okay.
so I had to. Hey, George Hayes is here.
George Hayes!
All right, cool. George doesn't even watch the show, but he just likes to tune in because he likes our stream.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey,
Thanks, George.
But yeah, so last season they had 3 different, they called them pods on the show. And the first one was all Ghost Rider. The second one was all LMD, life model decoys. And it totally changed the flavor and the feel of the show. And then the third and final one was where the main LMD, Ada, sucked them into the framework, and they had to live in an alternate Matrix-like universe where Hydra was in charge. Yeah. And that was cool because now they keep hearkening back to it, because at the end of that season, they threw together they set up the cliffhanger for this 5th season, where they all get captured and sent to the future out in space.
The future.
And one of the first things that they're saying is, yeah, we're floating out in space and everything. Are we sure we're still not stuck in the framework? So like every so often they can keep.
it obviously affected them very deeply. Like Fitz was obviously affected because he was a bad guy, but it also affected like how they move through reality because they really it's like how can you trust what
anything
you're
at that
seeing
point.
if you could be plugged into a computer program and it can trick your mind?
I guess at a certain point when they got used to understanding, like there was a certain point where they could feel that things were wrong, and they knew from that point on they knew what was right.
Yeah.
And but sometimes there's things like Mac's little girl that is still strong enough to cause problems. Ugh. That was heartbreaking.
It was.
That poor guy. Mac never catches a break, especially now with what just recently happened. Just in case you haven't seen the.
Okay, I won't make my next joke then.
What? No, go ahead. Well, hold on. For the last episode, the 11th episode of the season, All the Comforts of Home. This is a spoiler warning, just in case you're not fully caught up yet. So, as long as this thing's blinking, don't keep your fingers
listen.
in your ears.
Yeah. La, la,
I'll
la,
shut
la,
this
la,
off
la,
when
la.
he's done. Go.
Yo-Yo's not catching anything. That was it. I told you it was a joke.
All right, I shut this spoiler thing off. I can't believe you wasted all that time with that terrible of a joke. I'm sorry, people. I apologize to all our fans.
Oh, you turn the spoilers off. We can't even explain it to George.
Yeah, no, George, be glad, but I don't think he cares about the spoilers. But I really hope you know what happened. Clark Gregg tuned in at that moment, heard your terrible joke, and was like, "Bleh."
Clark Gregg would have loved that joke.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
He's punalicious. I know it. I feel like...
he's good punalicious, not bad puns. It's almost as bad. All right, let's move on. All right, so what was I saying here? Oh, yeah. So the way that they had last season set up to have 3 smaller things, because they also knew that their schedule was getting mucked with, and like they would be shifting around a little bit, and they weren't sure how much of a show they could put together without it being interrupted for like mini hiatuses and stuff like that. So they had shorter story arcs for things, and it was good. It kept things moving, and it kept you interested. And they totally changed the show around for the end of the last season, because now they're out in space, and it's not just space, but it's also the future.
Space,
yeah, so that it was pretty awesome. Yeah. So, did you have anything you want to add on that topic of?
I think kind of under the same topic, and I mentioned it in our last episode recap, that I love that this show doesn't draw out drama, because they're able to do those reinventions, and they pivot from plot line to plot line, instead of having these like huge long story arc plot lines where you have to drum up a lot of drama to kind of fill the space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
CW. Sorry,
I was like, don't cough into the mic. Oh, I see what she was doing.
I had a tickle. They concentrate on telling a story, and within that story they have good character development, but they have reasonable character development. And they like we had said, like at this point in the show in season 5, they aren't all they're not reinventing some sort of drama between them, because they're a team. They're a tight-knit team. They've now been through so much that they're able to just kind of understand, well, yeah, of course he's going to do that. Of course, this is going to happen, because
of course Coulson's not going to leave Daisy
behind. So those are the things that I really appreciate, because it allows them to not waste time on that, and to actually tell really neat stories. And there's so many characters in the Marvel universe that you don't need to rehash these relationships. You can bring in a new one and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I like it.
Yeah, and the camaraderie that they are.
I really love the camaraderie. And I really do feel, and I of course I didn't put this on my list, but I feel that Clark Gregg plays a character who engenders that camaraderie, and I think he does a great job at it. And I like his character. I've loved Coulson from his little screen bits. I loved Coulson from the end of Iron Man, where he was playing the straight man, and I loved hearing his story about how he thought that was he was just going to be on there, say a few lines, and then like they said, well,
Oh,
we
you'll
want
be
you to
in
come
the
back and do the next
next
one,
one.
and then it's like,
All right.
yeah. So we're doing this Thor, you've got a bit of a bigger part, and then he becomes this integral thing, and now he's got a show. So I like it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good
very
stuff.
cool. So, all right, did Clark Gregg play in West Wing, that FBI character in the West Wing before he did any of the Iron Man movies?
Oh yeah, West Wing I think was over before Iron Man.
All right. Because I know that somewhere, like, it was either he was kind of basing Coulson a little bit on that one, or he let that one be
so.
based on
No,
Coulson
yeah, I
a
think
little
that
bit.
was how that went.
So, but that's pretty cool because whenever you can base something on Aaron Sorkin writing,
Well, yeah.
it's going to start off good,
Yeah.
and then with the great writing that they have in the MCU, it just got better.
Yep.
All right, so you're next.
I am next. So one of my other favorites, one of my favorite plot lines and moments in the show was from season 1. And I loved, and I know that they didn't really do this very much more as the other seasons went on, but in the first season, they integrated Captain America with, which one was that? Captain America
Winter Soldier.
Well, it was Winter Soldier with the show.
Captain America S hits the fan.
S goes down. Like that. That was a novelty. That was new. I remember them telling us, like, ideally, you will watch this week's episode. This weekend, you will go and see Captain America Winter Soldier, and then you will watch next week's episode, and you'll understand why. And I remember you going to see the movie, because we haven't really gone to see a movie together in 3 years.
Yeah.
Since we had our second kid, so now we watch our movies, like, one goes, when he can, and then I'll go after bedtime.
Before that. This was before Molly, but that's unimportant to this discussion.
Yeah,
anyway,
but it didn't matter. Like, you told me, I'm going to go see the movie, and you couldn't wait because you had heard this thing, like, about having to go and see it. And then we went out to dinner that night, and you turned to me and was like, you need to go online and buy your ticket now and go watch it.
Yeah.
Like, just go now.
Just go.
Go find a ticket. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
No, you have to go. You have to go and watch it, and you'll know why. And I was like, all right. So I went and I watched it, and I was like, well, this is going to change everything. And it was like, oh, no.
But,
And so then the next week's episode was that, and I was blown away. I loved it. And I could only hope, and I know that things affected...
I'm pushing the big button, so we're going to get cool pictures of your man in here.
Of my man?
Yeah.
Yeah. When we get to that, I know in the later episode, season, when Avengers, Ultron, they throughout that season they made allusions to some sort of project, and the project was renovating an old helicarrier that shows up at the end of Ultron to evacuate everyone off of Sokovia, and that was cool, and I liked it. It was an oblique kind
but it was like
no
like
it was no like this movie directly affects this show.
Yeah,
from one week to the other, like that movie, like you had to watch it in that order, or you would be like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
And that was beautiful. I loved it, and I only hope that other media does that or
that
something
they start
like
doing it again.
I would love it to happen again.
Remind me later when we're talking about the future. To mention about the MCU tie-ins.
Yeah. So in that reveal, when Hydra is revealed to have infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. over the course of the last 50 years, we got this character played by one of my most beloved character actors who has departed from us over the last year, Bill Paxton, and that was Garrett. I don't have his full title. Agent Garrett.
Yeah.
Agent Garrett, Hydra guy.
Hydra dude.
And I loved him. And you know what? I realized that I love crazy people because he was also a nutsy cuckoo. And by the end, he had become a megalomaniac, and he was just like, I am unstoppable. And I loved, of course, the moment because Coulson was like with this giant laser thing that they found in episode 1. It was like a gun on the wall. Here's this giant thing that can blow stuff up. What are you waiting for?
I'm staring at the camera because you just told everyone I love crazy people and megalomaniacs, and you married me, so I'm a megalomaniac, crazy person.
No, I like characters
Okay.
that do that.
All right. That's
Apparently.
better. Yeah, I do have the GIF in there of the GIF of Coulson shooting him. It is awesome how he just liquefies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see that clearly in the GIF?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll chit chat while it cycles through, and of course, it probably just came in. There it is.
There's
Zoop.
the GIF.
Yeah, I mean, the GIF is pretty impressive, isn't it? We're gonna battle. Wish I had Picard facepalm on this board.
Another thing that I think we loved during that reveal was Ward, the actor.
Oh yeah.
Because he was so closed mouth, so closed lipped. I mean, everyone was because that was a complete blindside. That he was a Hydra mole, and
it was great for his character because up until then he was just the stereotypical good guy, clean,
good-looking G-man. That's pretty much what he was.
Yeah. But
secret agent,
didn't they?
Kind of an American James Bond.
They started to smudge that around a little bit when he and May started hooking up, though, right? Because they did that, but no matter what, that's still making him the whole time be a bad guy. I wanted to go back and look and see when the actor knew. I can't think of his name. Brett Dalton. When Brett Dalton knew that Grant Ward was a turncoat. Was it the week before the episode aired? Because I don't think he knew the whole time.
No, but I mean, he had to have known before they shot it.
It's the week before they shot it. Hey, here's next week's script. You're gonna want to read page 39. It's kind of
by
important.
yourself.
Yeah.
I loved that because he on his Twitter account right after the episode aired changed his profile picture to be the Hydra symbol.
Yeah,
he was all in it, and I loved that.
It was great. I mean, it was like instantaneous.
Yeah, and I remember you sitting there and just being like, oh, and you showed it to me, and I was like, ah. It's pretty much how we react to everything in our living room.
Things have quickly gotten out of hand with trying to live tweet shows, especially with kids, and how much nowadays that we go back and watch it on our own schedule.
Yeah.
But back when this reveal went down, because I mean we knew it was going to be big stuff, so we were sitting there with our phones and everything watching as it went.
That was great. That was great because going into that episode after Winter Soldier, you had no idea. You had no idea who was going to be Hydra or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I know our favorite moment of that, like that disgusting moment of that was Gary Shandling.
Oh, in the
playing.
movie.
Was that in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was in the movie.
Yeah.
See, I'm out. Well, because the guy he whispered to him, it does. The guy, Sitwell, crossed from the movie to the show.
Yeah, he was on the show.
And
that was so creepy the way he hugged him. Hail Hydra.
His big old.
I love that meme
lips.
when that meme went around. Oh, that was so good. Every time for the next 3 years, every time anyone hugged close by that don't look like they should be hugging, boom, it was Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra.
And I fully endorse it.
All right.
Has that been enough scrolling, Agent Garrett?
Oh, no.
Rest in peace, Bill Paxton.
Have we seen the GIF again?
We've seen it like 17 times. I only have like 8 pictures here.
Okay.
I only have so much time to go tool around the internet and see things. But there it goes one more time. Man, just liquid.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
It was set up. I also had wanted to mention Deathlock because I did like that character in that section, and I really just wanted to mention it. Like, don't forget Deathlock.
But
don't
forget Deathlock's cool.
It was like we got to that episode, and it was like it was setting up for him to like continue on and wreak more havoc. And I was like, no, really? I mean, come on. And Coulson just shows up and is like, no.
Let's clear all this up right now.
Yeah. That's the sound it made too. It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, this next one I think both of us love.
Well, yes, because it's never going to get better than these two right here. Fitzsimmons. I thought it was cool the way they introduced them. Got me Fitzsimmons, and it's two people.
Yeah.
And you think at the first couple episodes they didn't really make it super obvious what was going on, but partway into the season, the damn writers doing their damn job so well of taking the whole first 3/4 of that first season before the Hydra reveal, making us like these damn characters and enjoy them and care about what happens to them when they get dropped in a cargo container into the ocean to die. Yes, that's.
And then proceed to torture them and us
They can never be together.
Yeah. And the best, like this huge crescendo leads right up to the end of the second season. That's
Yeah,
when
it
she
was
gets
the
sucked into the monolith and sent across the galaxy. And they were just like to that point where they were, you know,
yeah. Was it the second season? Whatever. Yes, it was the end of the season. It was the last 5 minutes of the thing, and we had started watching ABC shows on online, and the online version doesn't have that last 5 minute stinger. At least they didn't used to. They do now because people like us probably called and complained, and we didn't see any stinger on there. And I go in, I'm seeing all this buzz. What happened to Simmons? What happened to Simmons? I was like, I don't know what happened to
something
Simmons.
happened.
And then I go online and I track it down. I'm like, oh, that's not cool.
What?
Those kind of things should not happen. But yeah, I mean, and it's gotten now in season 5, it's gotten a little bit ridiculous when Fitz wasn't sent through time with the rest of them. And then, as if it wasn't ridiculous enough that they were separated by time and space like that, all the rest of the group, Simmons was further separated from the rest of them by being brought to Cassius's area. So once Fitz got and found everyone else, it was, oh no, I still have to jump through these friggin' hoops over here to get to my woman. And then, oh, I've jumped through all these hoops and my woman's here and I'm telling her how I feel about her and I love her and I want to marry the hell out of her. And she's got this weird S in her ears that doesn't let her hear. And so she didn't hear any of that. And then she goes later on and says, once we get that out, oh, yeah, I want to marry you. I'm like, I did that first. I did. Sure you did, Fitz. But no, really.
I like it.
And,
I like all of it.
And I don't. Yes. Hold on. All right. I'm throwing up a spoiler warning thing here, just because this is my theory about spoiler stuff. Oh God, now I got Fitzsimmons and that over the same thing. There we go. All right. So I just real briefly want to go nuts here on my theory. So with incoming episodes throughout the rest of this season, we all So close your ears if you don't want to hear my theories. Fitz is gonna die. But now that they're back in the past, Fitz is going to die, but someone's going to be like, oh, hey, we have another Fitz on ice because he's resting to wait to go into the future, and they're going to open him up, but it's going to be him without the memories because, in like a couple weeks, those two are going to get married because they got to rip our hearts out when Fitz dies. So he's going to come out of his ice thing, and like he's not going to be the same Fitz, and Simmons is going to be like, no, he's not the man I married. Oh, he is the man you married, and they're going to keep it going and make us be sad and upset.
Wow.
All right, sorry.
I just like that they're really smart.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so now I'm sorry, I had to indulge myself. I apologize. But yeah, so all right, they're really smart and they're cute and adorable together.
They really are.
And she made
They're
him
British.
an awesome sandwich.
I love it all. She did make him an awesome sandwich.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
I love how he described it, and it had prosciutto and aioli and garlic. It was all this, and he just took that sandwich and threw it right away.
Yeah. Oh, it was so sad.
Oh, I know. I'm like, it sounded so tasty.
It was gonna be so good. Oh, I thought I put that sandwich in the in that rotation there. Oh, and that look on that GIF when he rescues her. This one here, like it's in our rotation on the thing. This one right there when he rescues her. Oh, yep. You can't even see it really moving here. That's sad. But yeah, it's so much like Fitz goes and he figures out a way to travel
across the galaxy.
Yeah, to rescue her. Yeah, I'll figure this out. No problem, honey. If you get lost in Camden, I'm not going to go to find you. All right.
I will travel no farther than
I do love
like
you.
300 yards.
Well, no, I'll travel far, but not into like scary places. And another planet is definitely scary. All right, I'm sorry.
That's fantastic.
I hope my mom is tuned out by now because otherwise she'll be upset.
Nah, I think she probably is like, it's kind of reasonable.
But yeah, I
got the grandkids.
Those two are. Oh, hold on. We need them scrolling some more. Those two are adorable. We love them. And I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with them in the future because she No, he has definitely changed after the framework, like you mentioned before. That
It's not the first time he's changed. And she's changed too, because when she had to go undercover at Hydra, she had become hardened.
yes, she became badass scientist number one.
And he had suffered brain damage from holding his breath underwater.
Yeah,
After they got blown out of the thing. So like they've had personality changes slightly, but they keep coming back together. And that's what I really love about it, is that like they keep overcoming the challenges. It's just like, I think they almost have had enough challenge.
Well, yeah, but I mean, his first challenge was getting back to his regular brainiac position, and like so getting back to normal, and so that was all well and good. Her thing was she was growing and becoming a better agent by being able to do that stuff. So that herself, also was a good thing.
Yep.
This change here that Leo is going through now is like a bad change because he's seen the evil and badness that's in himself, and he saw how easy it was to explain Cassius's way of keeping the humans under tow on the thing, and all that stuff just rolled off of his tongue, and he just like, you know, nonchalantly, and that's just the way it is, and that's the way he thinks. But there was also, and I can't remember the specifics on it, there was something that happened in that episode also where Simmons did something that was like, oh no, it was later on when they were escaping and Fitz did that piano wire across the thing that sliced him in half, and Simmons was like, that's a good idea. And so it was like, oh God, maybe these two are slowly on a trajectory to becoming like evil.
That'd be kind of cool too.
Well, I mean, I don't want to root for the evil people, but I would root for them too. But then maybe that's showing the universe that true love really can exist. That it just spawns evil.
Sorry.
I got deep all of a sudden, and she just laughs.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're having fun here.
I can't wait to watch that in the replay.
Oh, all
right.
All right. So wave bye-bye to Fitz and Simmons. Bye-bye.
Bye, Fitz and Simmons. Bye, Fitz and Simmons.
All right. So let's check over our notes. What do we have next?
We got favorite lines now.
Oh, favorite lines.
There have been so many. Anything, and you know, the Whedons were involved in this, and it's the Marvel universe, and I anything that especially Coulson can deliver. I mean, when I was looking for some of them came to mind right away. Like they were that good. And then I did kind of look up some of them, and I kept coming back to Coulson lines because he delivers them so well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. So you have Coulson lines on there for what favorite ones are. Save that top one because I got a picture to go with that top one.
I love that one too. That was he had so many.
I see no other Phil Coulson where he says funny ones.
Because there were so many. It was just been like copy paste. One of them was, and I can't remember what it was from. It was early on, and he was standing in a dark corner or something like that, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself in this dark corner."
Yeah,
I think you have a bulb out.
It was when he was revealed to still be alive.
Yeah.
He like came out of the darkness.
Yeah, he was like, I think there's a bulb out, and that really did start to set the tone of how. But he was like that in the movies as well, and I loved it. And you know what I loved? I went looking for it, but it didn't say that. Because it was Ward. He was being introduced to Ward.
Yeah.
And they said,
"Welcome to level 7."
Welcome to level. Yeah. He was like, I'm already at level
6.
blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did like that.
You know who else had a lot of good lines? Agent Triplet.
Yes,
because one time Phil Coulson asked him, you bring a noisemaker? And because they had all that old World War II tech from whatever that group was that they had, and what was Triplet's answer?
Sir, I bring the noise and the funk wherever I go.
Mm-hmm. And he had a lot of lines like that, akin to Coulson having a lot of good lines. Triplet's more often than not had like smooth with the ladies lines.
Yeah, he was good.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look, your next quote there is from that first episode also.
It was. I did a lot of early stuff. What is Hill's first name?
Mara.
Mara?
Yeah.
That's her first name?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was something completely.
All right, well, hold
I'm
on.
such a fan of this show.
You aren't believing me, so I mean, I'm not saying I'm 100% correct, but I will look this up as you go through, read the quote.
All right. So she asks Ward, "What does SHIELD stand for, Agent Ward?" Ward, Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. And what does that mean to you? It means someone really wanted our initials to spell out SHIELD.
Yeah, I don't. I want a job where I can. That's my thing. Trying to come up with acronyms.
I want to say it was Anita.
Maria.
There we go.
Well,
I knew it was
I've
3 syllables. No, it was Maria.
Well, all right. I was at least close. I was in the ballpark.
Maria.
All right. Now we're doing this.
There once was a character named Maria.
All right. So now we get to the guy that is quickly approaching to be able to combat Coulson as my favorite character on the show.
He's always been solid. I have liked him since he was introduced. And I loved his role that season that he was introduced in because he took Fitz under his wing and helped him kind of regain his.
We're talking about Mac.
And we're talking about Mac. Yeah, I was going for a reveal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The reveals. And he's always been that kind of heart of the team. And I've really loved him. But his one-liners they've been good, but I mean they've stepped up this season. But this is one from the past. Mac says, "You're Gordon, right?" And Gordon says, "Who are you?" And Mac says, "I'm the guy who kills Gordon."
Yeah, that's. I wish I could ever have anything approaching that much confidence in myself.
I'm the guy who kills Gordon.
I mean, especially when you're about to go into Mortal Kombat with a guy that can teleport.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's totally fine.
I'm armed with this pipe here. Okay, I'll figure this out. Whatever.
Yeah.
But Mac's best line, it comes in the form of this picture here, and it's so good. I'm just gonna flash it up there. Boom. There we go. Oh, hold on. I thought I put it in the thing too. Oh, I didn't put it all in the thing. So now I gotta get real in and creepy, and
he says. Do you want me
Oh, no, I got it. I found it. Jeez, Mac, how hard did you hit him? Coulson asks. And Mac says, "What do you mean? I hit him as hard as I possibly could. Look, I don't half hit people. It's a punch. That's why it's called a punch. I hit him as hard as I possibly could." And when he gets that line out, I know it's my job to grab the remote control and hit pause.
Because we lost it.
Because we weren't going to hear the next 5 or 6 lines through our laughter.
I mean, the look of disgust on his face was beautiful. I hit him as hard as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And then he like mumbles the rest of it. It was like, I don't half hit people. It's a punch. It's why it's called punch.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are you people talking about?
It was just, it was beautiful. It was like one right after the other with him in that beginning of the season.
Yeah,
because they were, in the very beginning, they were fighting those cockroach things because they show up on the what looks like a space station to us in this infested area. So it's like Alien in the beginning of the season. And they keep suggesting things to him. And one of them was, "We need to split up." And he's like, "No! Haven't you guys watched any movies? You know what? We split up and then some people start dying, and you know who's the first to die?" Like, that was something. I'm paraphrasing that one, but I loved the look on his face.
I think that was about.
It was pretty much
straightforward.
Pretty much just like that. But then, I mean, and we held it together up until, "Geez, Mac, how hard you hit him?" I mean, he looks like. What do you mean?
Well, yeah, like, how is that even?
We must have gone back and listened to it just that day at least 4 times.
See, I also remember. I remember watching it, and like the look on Mac's face at first had me thinking of, like, Mac was looking at him this way because Mac didn't hit him. What are you talking about? I didn't do that, and like Coulson was hallucinating or something. But then he went into that line and made it even better. The reaction inside my head.
It's glorious.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. So I really do love Mac. I love his axe gun. That like slowly evolved over over time, and when he got it, he was like, "Yeah, this is the weapon. This is the one that I was destined for. I'm going to wreak havoc.
And until recently, did we know that axe head turns around to turn into like essentially a bayonet? I thought it was just there for chopping
No, yeah, and he
on the
uses
thing,
it
and this one he turns that thing around before he drives it through Cassius's back.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh man, yeah, but Mac, you're whoever's writing your lines. If it's someone specific, they are knocking it out of the park lately.
Yeah.
So all right, so that covered another of our favorite non-quote things. My one of my things is from earlier on. Anytime you have all these awesome weapons and everything, you make something that you're going to call a night gun. That's pretty cool. Icer, yeah, okay, that sounds a little bit cooler, but someone called it a night gun. It's like, yeah, all right, that's good. Let me tell you, I would use one of those every damn time when am I off shift now? Yep.
I'm sure there's some sort of side effect to nighting yourself.
They did say, like whenever they wake up, they seem to have a bad headache.
Yeah.
So that would kind of suck. But I think I would pay that price for a good solid couple hours of sleep, like uninterrupted, and not having any kind of problems. But there's been all kinds of fun stuff. I enjoy that they got Lady Sif in.
I did.
On the action.
Yeah.
I liked I wish I could remember the actor's name that was in Dragon Slayer that also played an Asgardian. In that one episode, they went to see him. He was a professor.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Ally McBeal also.
And that doesn't help me.
Oh, well.
But I remember that episode.
Yeah, so I thought it was cool that they showed just, like, not a muscly, bristling superhero.
An academic Asgardian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to
okay.
Oh, yeah, all right. Sorry, everyone. Our son popped in for a moment. I'm going to mute the mics. Hey,
you've hit like 9 buttons over there. It was 1 to mute and 3 to get us back.
No, I only got this thing recently, so oh, you're going back to watch the replay. I'm not yet super cool with it, but I think it's cool that I can just read here and our mics off and on and on and on and off. I just got to make sure to leave it in an on phase.
Technical problems. Please stand by. You even had a screen.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, cool.
I'm no dummy.
They couldn't hear or see us yell at him.
Well, and at first they could see us yelling at him, but then when I started to get animated, when I started to get animated, I added the technical difficulties. So
sure did. That's fantastic.
Sorry, everyone.
It's cool, kids.
Yeah, it's all right. But no, so where were we? We were talking about the night gun because that was cool.
These were general.
Yeah, so
general things we just remember off the top of our heads, and
having Deathlock on the show was cool because he was another comic book character, and I feel bad for that guy because. Yeah, I mean, he was just trying to do good by his son, and he got all...
So the last we saw him, now he's just like roving the planet, right?
Yeah,
doing good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see him this next episode.
Oh, well,
that would be
it
cool.
is 100 episodes, so
yeah, that would be nice to see him come back.
Yeah, that would be cool. Did Coulson's the violinist make it?
Cellist.
Yeah, cellist. Amy Acker, did she make it or did she get killed? I think she made it, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah, well, it's not really super important, but it would be nice to see her again, even though it was just one little quick thing. But then again, now I think back to Constance Zimmer's character. He was starting to get involved with her. She led ATAC. Why do I want to say ATAC? But I know it's not ATAC. What's the name of that group?
Unit?
No. This is not Doctor Who.
Crossing the stream.
Yeah. All right. Well, but she was leading that thing, and Ward killed her when they were right across the dinner table from each other, and he was starting to get feelings for her.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's
all
right.
And, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it was rough.
yep.
Um,
Yeah, a lot of rough. There was
yeah.
a lot of rough in this series.
There is so much rough in this series. So I guess we should feel pretty good about Fitzsimmons because they're both still alive. At least.
For now.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I think we covered all our stuff.
It's been a great ride, and I'm very happy they made it to 100 episodes. I hope they are able to continue going if they have stories to tell. I would love to see the larger MCU integrate a little bit. I would really think that this next movie is gonna have some kind of impact on them. I mean,
You would hope.
a giant spinny thing looks like it appears above New York.
Yeah, and so when they came back now, that seems to be the time of Thor Ragnarok because one of the things that the guy said, Noah said, was that there's an Asgardian in the city, and we all know there's only one city. So that lines up with Ragnarok, and so now, like assuming that that's now, yeah, the next couple weeks can be them running around until stuff happens, and like there's still going to be episodes after that show, so I don't know if they're like cramming this in and the season is going to end because unfortunately we've heard that they're writing the show and they're kind of having two different forks for the end of the season. The one where it's just the season finale, and they're supposedly writing stuff to make it a series finale, just in case things come through. Yeah. So, in case things don't come through. So, if it goes series finale route, I could see them letting that tie in and them just getting stepped on by Thanos.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, just all of them are together and they're happy and they're like, hey, everything worked out good. Hey, what's that circlet thing?
No.
Yeah, it couldn't. Yeah, I could see. Well, all right, not that bad, but something akin to that happening. Yeah. So, but I believe that because Disney stepped in to ABC and said, even though they own them, so I don't know about stepping in.
Step down. They stepped down into ABC and was like, "This is what you're doing. Here's Dove Cameron."
Yeah. So Disney stepped in, got ABC to run the show another year, even though ABC wanted to cancel it last year. I'm still hopeful that they forced them to keep going with it. So next year, when the show would normally start back up, the Disney streaming service starts and they just transition over to that. Then there's no more worry about ABC and they just run it.
That would be great.
That would be great. And hopefully maybe that transition even allows them to tie back more into the movies, because maybe whoever doesn't like each other between the movies and the TV stuff gets their ass worked out, and it'll be someone new with the streaming service is in charge of that and not TV.
And not broadcast, yeah.
Yeah. You got to laugh out of George because you dropped in a Doctor Who reference. So.
I did?
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so
I'll drop anything in.
Yeah, she sure will.
If it comes into my head, sometimes like, how about this?
So, and I'm even more hopeful that it keeps going on, because lately I feel like the writing on the show has really stepped up. Not to say it hasn't been good before this, of course, but with the budget cutbacks that they've had on the show that they kind of had to promise in exchange for keeping it on, like the first whole half of the season had like 6 sets, it felt like. They had like those hallway sets and Casai's room and the little battle chamber thing,
and that's fine because that gave it a sense of being confined and a last outpost of humanity. Like that's how it should have felt.
Yeah,
and that's no problem. But they still managed to make the space scenes they still managed to make the things they had to spend wisely. On. They spent it really well because it didn't feel cheap.
They had a destroyed Earth and a school bus floating by, so. It was pretty good stuff.
Good.
But yeah, so I really hope that the show continues on, because we know these characters very well and how they react, and I just hope Mac doesn't quit like he constantly threatens to.
Yeah, no, he's getting too old for this shit.
No.
Yeah, I know, and he's definitely in a low moment.
Yeah.
Right now. I hope that. My hope is that it feels satisfying when it does end, and that it feels satisfying in the greater MCU. Like that's my hope.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, even if not, if they still keep them sequestered away and in their own little corner of things, if they keep it at the quality that it has been lately, and then that'll still be okay. Of course, it would be great if it was, but you know, we take what we can get. Just no more Xeno weapons going and slicing people.
Chakrams.
That's not good.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Well,
I think we are all good. Tomorrow night is the 100th episode. They promised lots of good stuff. So if you're not able to watch it on time, like I don't think we're going to be able to, unfortunately, stay off social media until you get a chance to, because we don't want to spoil anyone, or we don't want to get spoiled ourselves. So enjoy it, and stop back here Tuesday. Subscribe to the channel, please, if you like this. Hit the bell so that way you get notifications whenever we go live. We enjoy going live more often than trying to do scripted and edited content, because someone has to do all the editing and scripting and everything. And this way we just kind of sit down and it just happens. So check back here every Tuesday. We will have a review of the most recent Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, and hopefully we will see you then.
All right.
Until then, I am Adam, Corpulent Geek, and that is...
Sci-Fi Christina. Congratulations, S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yay!
100 episodes, yay!